Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kamal Hubbard, and welcome to Black USA Crypto News. We're here every Friday from 4 p.m. Eastern in the Pacific to 7 p.m. Eastern. So happy to join you guys, or for you guys to join us. And once again, it's been quite a week in the crypto sphere. Here today to tell you about some of the news stories that came out this week and today that are really making quite a few headlines. So before I do that, I need to give some shouts out, of course, to Donnie Glover. Be sure to watch the Black USA News morning show with Donnie just about every morning at, I believe, 10 a.m. Eastern. And that's 7 a.m. here on the West Coast. So, be sure to get that in. Of course, SistaBiz with Nicole and Tamara. Got to check them out. They're every Wednesday afternoon, evening, the 4 p.m. slot. They're telling you all the ins and outs of business, all the things you need to know as a small business owner. So, and they obviously have some really great guests as well. And last, but certainly not least, the Black Business Roundtable every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern with Doug Blackshirt. He's going over a lot of things that, once again, small businesses should know. He has guests from around the country to talk about what sort of things they have going on with businesses. He also speaks with various chambers of commerce and other people who are movers and shakers in business. So don't forget to tune in to the Black Business Roundtable on Thursdays. So the other thing I would like to share with everyone today, of course, is a little bit about myself. You should check out my website, which is www.kamalrhubbard.com. There you can find my book, which is DeFi for the Diaspora. And it's actually, I'm getting some pretty good feedback on it. So please definitely check out my website. And also, you can, or if you can, feel free to go to the comment section and leave me a note if you have any interest in joining a free workshop that I have planned this month. So it's just really going to be very cut and dry Q&A. So if you have questions and you can join, you can run your questions by me, and I'll just talk about a few things that I think are, once again, important. So it'll be a little bit more interactive than what we have going on our usual broadcast. So next, I would like to let you guys know about the Cage Chain newsletter. You can subscribe to the Cage Chain newsletter at cagechain.io. And every week we share, it's a midweek free newsletter that shares all the top things that are going on in the crypto sphere, once again. So it's just a different time of the week where you can catch this. It gives infographics, analytics, past shows, and other podcasts. What I thought was very interesting this week was that the blockchain caucus in Congress is discussing, or wants to discuss, how to reverse cryptocurrency transactions, or just reverse blockchain transactions just in general. So that is actually a very alarming statement to a lot of people in crypto. I think not so much in terms of what is trying to be done here, as much as it is more of a thing where it just goes to show how much lawmakers don't know about the subject of blockchain and cryptocurrencies and how transactions work. Um, I actually talk about this in my book, which is another reason to check out. It's a really great tip in terms of how to really manage your transactions, and really one of the number one rules of cryptocurrency transactions. So just kind of tying that back into the book, but going back to this story, it doesn't leave a lot of people in the cryptocurrency industry optimistic. It just shows that there is a long way to go for lawmakers to really start proposing more sensible legislation. And, so I'm looking forward to that. And, I had an opportunity back in 2018 to testify before the California State Senate Banking Committee on what blockchain is, and Bitcoin, and how it works. It was a very preliminary discussion. It really was helping so that the state of California could craft legislation in terms of a definition of blockchain. And also, part of that advocacy work went on to actually later allow companies in California to distribute shares of equity of companies using blockchain technology. So it was 8B 2658 and SB 838. So once again, I always had a great time working with lawmakers. They're so busy. That's one thing too. They have a lot of information coming their way. So I feel to a certain extent we also have to be patient with them. But at this point, it's really comes down to who's giving them this information, how well are they absorbing it, and just the quality of the information that they're getting as well. So once again, you can check out that story at the Cage Chain website. And once again, if you can subscribe, it's free, so there's really no obligation. I think another story that I want to discuss today that actually came out was the story about JP Morgan. They actually, really a number of banks, some folks may have been focusing on the various reports that banks are putting out lately around cryptocurrencies. One person that I had a chance to talk to who doesn't work for a bank, but they manage money, and they're seeing these reports coming out from banks, and their thought process on this is that banks are probably losing customers to cryptocurrency investments. People don't need a bank to invest in cryptocurrencies. Some people do, but that's up to the banks to really determine why they need to once again be an intermediary in that process. And that's what they're doing. They're doing their research, and they're telling their customers that, hey, we're doing research, when in fact they've been doing research for years on cryptocurrencies. But when it comes to today's story in particular, it comes from JP Morgan. They released a recent study that talked about staking on Ethereum 2.0. They're highly optimistic that staking on Ethereum 2.0 could one day have a $40 billion revenue possibility by 2025. So the reason I'm laughing through this story is so many years ago, JP Morgan had a very strong stance saying that Bitcoin was a scam. Well, good thing is they're doing their research, and they found out that Ethereum is looking pretty good and possible revenue opportunity. So, you guys can take that with a grain of salt. And please do look into this story more if you're interested. Do your own research on Ethereum. Of course, do your own research on Bitcoin and every other cryptocurrency out there. I'm here today, obviously, to kind of give you guys some informational stories. Once again, ones that I thought were pertinent this week, but it's very important, once again, for you guys to take what I say as educational purposes only, not financial advice, legal or tax advice. I just make that claim because, hey, at the end of the day, I always want to keep this show lighthearted, send some information your way, and maybe this is the best way for you to get your information on cryptocurrency and blockchain. I hope I'm doing a great job making it very easy for the audience to pick up and take it and run with it. That's actually really what I want this audience in particular to do, is take this information, run with it wherever you are in terms of your comfort level with cryptocurrencies. You got to continue to learn more. That's part of it. And of course, you have to know when to take breaks as well. This is a 24/7 market. We obviously, as people, cannot operate on a 24/7 time scale. So I guess there is another big story that hit the various news outlets this week, and it was dealing with Binance. So Binance is one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges by daily volume. And a few years back, maybe it was last year, the United States actually banned the Binance website, or banned Americans using the Binance website. So that being the case, it seems like other jurisdictions are catching up. And that is a very interesting story indeed. In particular, Canada and the UK were saying that Binance is not okay. And just today, I saw another story about the Cayman Islands also getting ready to ban its citizens from using Binance as well. So when the Cayman Islands says that you can't operate there from a money generating, I guess your operations have to do with money, and the Cayman say, no way, Jose. I think that's telling you something. So once again, check out this story. At this time, though, I would like to welcome my guest today, who's actually my first guest on Crypto USA News, and that is Ranzel Merritt. Hey, Ranzel, how's it going for you today?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Kamal? What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Hey, well, if you could reintroduce yourself to everybody at home really quick, that'd be great.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ranzel Merritt, musician, entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur, and teacher. I'm from Oakland, California, 28 years old. I'm working on a tech startup, and looking for product management jobs right now. So pretty exciting time in my life right now. I'm excited. And I was on this show last time. We're talking about crypto, what I've done in the music industry, some cool accomplishments. And I want to thank Kamal again for having me. It's going to be lit. Can't wait to talk today.
Well, yeah, kind of going back to the first show, is there anything that we left out that comes to mind, or anything maybe you would like to add at this point before we talk about news?
Not at this point, this exact point exactly, but thanks for asking. How about yourself? Anything new, exciting?
It's this show. This is a very exciting thing for me right now, and happy to have you on as my guest once again here. So I think, hey, if anything comes up, just let me know, of course. But I was just telling folks about some of the news stories this week that I thought were pertinent and worth bringing up. I don't know if you had a chance to see that story about the blockchain caucus in Congress that is looking to be able to reverse cryptocurrency transactions. I don't know if you saw that, but what are your thoughts on something like
No, I didn't see
that?
that. That's crazy that they're bringing blockchain into the government. Is that what you said? Is that exactly what you said? It's kind of hard to hear.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me better now?
No, I can hear you. It's just sometimes it's not so clear. My internet's not the best.
Okay. Well, so there is a caucus in Congress, the U.S. Congress, that is working on uh, matters related to blockchain. And one representative in particular wants to be able to have the power to reverse cryptocurrency transactions, which, honestly, I found that to be kind of startling because it just shows how much some lawmakers don't know about how cryptocurrency transactions work. Now, not to say that that's a bad idea, but it it doesn't uh, ring true to how blockchain is supposed to work, right? It's supposed to be a ledger, a record of all transactions.
Exactly.
Essentially,
Yeah.
reversing it is saying, "Oh, hey, we're just going to erase the record." What was
Yeah.
that?
Exactly. Yeah. That's I definitely agree with you. It's really kind of illegal. If you really think about it, because once it's established, they're going basically against the rules of what blockchain is, and doesn't make sense for them to even enter blockchain if they're going to change what blockchain is. Um, by adding a software layer to be able to reverse transactions, that's like totally illegal. It's like, all right, I sell for $1 billion, and then if it's illegal money, I can reverse it and not get caught or something. Like I don't know. That's just really seems really sketchy to me. And now that the government's interested in blockchain, and they've probably already been interested in blockchain, they're just not releasing they're interested in blockchain, shows that some things are going to be coming in. Hopefully, blockchain can still be a secure ledger, like you said, totally end-to-end encryption. If they start changing how they build blockchain and you don't have a Genesis block, you don't have an in Genesis block anymore, the hash and the digital signature, and each of the blocks propagating as it's do different transactions as it receives data. It's not going to be end-to-end encryption anymore. They can just basically go in and just do whatever they want to do and take out files and make basically do really illegal stuff. So if that happens, I feel like the whole entire crypto market is just going to be just like the stock market. It's going to be BS. It's going to be just total BS, and we're not going to look at it so seriously because you look at the stock market, the billionaires and folks who are running that crash it when they want, raise stuff when they want, lower when they want. Because none of this finances are backed by actual any resources or gold. So it's all just fake. So that's my point on it.
Yeah, I think you explained the sentiment very well. And so once again, I'm glad you could shine some light and give some insight on that whole thing. I think that's at the heart of the discussion among people in crypto. But there's a couple things that you did say I think were interesting, and maybe just for the audience, if you could tell them what a Genesis block is.
Oh, okay, yeah. For those who don't know about building blockchain, inside a software program like Python or JavaScript or anything you want, you can build a blockchain in pretty much. Um, but in terms of building decentralized apps, you have to use Ethereum or Docker, a few other things. But a Genesis block is basically the beginning block of the blockchain. So we imagine that this pencil is the blockchain, and the beginning part with the eraser at is the Genesis block. So throughout this whole entire blockchain that receives information on top and below, however you want to receive it, it's going to be encrypted and it changes. So it's constantly spinning and more radically than it's probably all over the place because no one can hack it once it's continuously spinning. And in each side of the block, say these are each blocks, there's a hash signature and there's a digital signature. that goes with your ID or whatever that transaction is for that ID. And then the Genesis block basically stands for like Genesis, like in the Bible, the first book, right? So we're standing for the first block, the beginning of everything. And then we have our end block. Now this end block, we want to make sure that we add double security layer to it on the end block of every blockchain that's designed. So any blockchain that we're using today, there's always double security layer on both front end and back end, so that no one can hack the blockchain. That's what makes it true end-to-end encryption, as well as the inside of the blockchain constantly spinning and changing with hash and digital signatures that it'd be impossible to get. But if this government decides to just stop this pencil from moving, stop the blockchain from being encrypted, and can go in and take out hash signatures and digital signatures and rearrange things and maybe put in some fake fake chains, basically fake data, fake information to maybe cover their backs on illegal transactions or illegal government activities, then we have a big problem, because this is supposedly the biggest thing that's supposedly coming in terms of true end-to-end encryption and actually securing um, pure data for the next 20 to 30 years. Because if this blockchain continuously spinning, you can't hack it unless you have a quantum computer. And we don't have quantum computers everywhere. So once this quantum computers being built, and they're really active, then that's when you have serious problems with hacking the blockchain. It'll be possible to hack the blockchain with a quantum computer. So yeah, that's what a Genesis block is. Not to go on a tangent, but I want to give you guys a little background info on exactly how the blockchain works and how it delivers.
Well, you dropped a number of really great terms, and maybe we'll discuss those a little bit later. But once again, is why I wanted to have you on the show, because you have a great technical insight into this. And obviously down the line, blockchain architects and engineers are looking into quantum resistant blockchains, right? Blockchains that are resistant to quantum computers being able to hack them. So, that's just kind of the bow I want to put on top of that. The other story, I don't know if you had a chance. What was that?
Oh, and I just agree with you. I know it's lagging when I say something.
Oh yeah, no worries. The other story, I don't know if you caught any of this, but today J.P. Morgan issued a study on blockchain. I discussed why banks are issuing so many studies to their customers nowadays on cryptocurrencies and blockchain. But JP Morgan in particular, in their study, said that Ethereum 2.0 has a very strong likelihood of being a source of revenue. So they're optimistic on Ethereum 2.0 when it comes to Ethereum 2.0 staking, which once again, they evaluated at a $40 billion revenue opportunity by 2025. So wow. What does that story say to you?
It shows you that we're finally moving into the digital age, leaving the fiat system maybe pretty soon, going to the digital system. I would say that with them doing that, it changes a lot of things in terms of security, in terms of how we're going to receive money, in terms of we're going to look at money. Is it going to even be as valuable as it used to be? Will we even need money pretty soon? Will this be able to have a self-sufficient digital bank where it's given out to everybody? I mean, universal income, right? What if that turns into that? But I think that with Chase, hold on, I got some ambulances in the background. 1 second. Okay. So yeah, with Chase doing that, I think that's going to bring some great possibilities for the finance game, and some also negative possibilities. It could be a lot of tampering done, and things could also just crash too as well, because people I don't think these companies, I don't think these new companies are up to date with blockchain information. they're hiring blockchain enthusiasts and blockchain data informants to tell them about blockchain. But these are old bankers we're talking about who are not keeping up to date with the latest technology, I would say. Because if that was the case, you would have seen these banks come out with a digital coin, and they would be the first to do it. You know what I'm saying? There would be no Bitcoin, or there would be like a Chase coin, a Wells Fargo coin, and et cetera, et cetera. And so it makes you kind of think, why haven't they done that? It makes a lot more sense if they want to reach more customers and grow their value of their estimated network of their company. If more people were joining to their bank, right, and putting more money into their bank, that would grow the value of their bank. So I think that's going to grow the value of banking because it's going to give access to people around more third world countries because it's on a crypto type network, whether they do it on Ethereum to create decentralized applications to deliver the coin, or rather they do it on EOS to deliver the coin, either or, right? Because those are two. And for those who don't know, Ethereum and EOS are blockchain softwares to build blockchain applications on. So they're called DApps, decentralized applications that are built on the blockchain. So if these banks are doing that now, I think we're in for some exciting stuff. Cash might go away pretty soon. If that's already happening, I'd say the next 10 years it might go away. And negative parts would be, I would say, the misuse and maybe tampering and changing the blockchain, because if they're building their own blockchain, they can tamper and play with their own blockchain. You know, they can take out information or take out certain codes for certain big transactions, for certain money laundering CEOs around the country, you know, where they won't give SAR reports, suspicious activity reports is what they call it in the money laundering, you know, in financial tech world. So that's something I see. That's where I see it going, man. And I'm pretty sure there's obviously other possibilities of use cases and negative use cases, but yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I was hearing earlier. I kind of chuckled at J.P. Morgan and their stance on Bitcoin a few years ago, saying it was a scam, but it seemed like they were somehow entering the market when they were kind of making those sort of announcements. And then, once those announcements made the maximum amount of damage on the market, all of a sudden they're a market entrant, right? They enter the market and say, "Hey, we're here."
Yeah.
So I don't.
That's the world.
I guess that's yeah, and I mean, I think you kind of touched on it when you were talking about, how the stock market is manipulated or has a history of manipulation, and other markets have had history of manipulation. Obviously,
same thing with Elon Musk manipulating
since there is
Dogecoin and everything else. Yeah.
Right. And once again, I mean, I'll kind of leave Elon Musk aside here, but due to the lack of regulation in crypto, you're seeing people from legacy finance and corporations coming in and trying to manipulate the markets, which it doesn't send a very good message in my opinion. It's like, hey, if you can't do that there and it's wrong, why come here and do that? So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
what we live in, unfortunately, and it kind of sucks that the owners, Natasha Soka, I can't pronounce his name right now, but the creator of Bitcoin, he's disappeared and is missing. Just like you said, it's a risky place and risky world right now, especially creating your own crypto. And if it becomes popular, you might go missing, and not saying that, he might have died of natural causes, but if someone created a, Bitcoin and they hold what 100 million Bitcoin, he holds that many or something like that. Shouldn't we know who they are? Shouldn't we have seen them by now? Shouldn't we have, they've been broadcasted on TV for bringing decentralized money back to the community and for folks that can send it over to folks in other countries? he's kind of doing a good thing for the lower class people of the world, and you see he's missing. And the world system we live in is a centralized system, so those 100 to 30 elite families probably don't want that to happen, because it'll mess up their money flow and bring power to the people, because if certain coins are invested into, and it's 1 billion people invest into 3 major coins around the world, and each of them have 1 billion people investing into it, that's most of the world, where you have 7 billion people in the world, so it's almost half, right? So it would change, and they lose all their money if people took their money out of the banks, right? And everything's went digital. But it's just scary, man. I would say it's very scary. And then you see McAfee. John McAfee just passed away. He said, they reported that he was suicide and in jail, but he was running from the government because he was investing into crypto and doing a lot of blockchain stuff himself, and was saying it was the next big thing. And unfortunately, he had to lose his life from trying to maybe do something that was right. He maybe saw the corruptness. And now you can look up John McAfee. There are some corrupt things he has done, obviously. You can watch the biography. He's obviously not the best person, but he was advocating for cryptocurrency and for it to be the next big thing and be a positive movement within the tech and just the economy of the world, period. So for him to just suspiciously just, a billionaire of a top security company just get, suicided in a jail doesn't really add up too well. And same thing with the Bitcoin billionaire who started Bitcoin. He's missing. So it's really interesting.
It is, yeah. We touched on John McAfee last week when it happened. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I think there is a lot of information out on him, and his history and how he got into technology. And I'd encourage people to look into everything. How he became prominent in the antivirus and cybersecurity space through McAfee antivirus and McAfee security. But once again, I kind of want to move forward and talk about some other topics. There was a little bit earlier on in the show, I was talking about information and people doing their own research. And, obviously I wrote my book, D5 for the Diaspora, as a way of getting information to Black and African diaspora, obviously throughout the world. People who may not know about Bitcoin and blockchain and want to understand it better and get things in context. The biggest thing, obviously, to discuss, or one of the things I discuss in the book, is the racial wealth gap that obviously is taking place here in the United States. And that's where at least most of the data that I'm coming across comes from, is people in the United States. There's also the digital divide, right? The ability for Black people to have reliable broadband internet. Obviously, there is a major gap between, Black households and other households when it comes to that. And, there appears to be issues when it comes to information and who deserves that information. I got this clip. It comes from Project Veritas. I'm just mentioning them to cite my source. I do not support this project in any way, shape, or form. Don't know much about this project. But once again, I want to share this video with you and the viewers just to bring some context and use it in a fair use for part of this discussion.
Stories by almost every single reporter for our 5 o'clock audience, because that's not our 5 o'clock audience. So there are lots of reasons. If I know our numbers are tanking from 5 to 6, and in one particular segment, an older woman, whatever, I may say, yeah, the Bitcoin for our poor African American audience of 5, it's probably not going to play. That's a choice I'm making, an editorial choice.
So that was actually a story from a Fox News affiliate in Houston, I see one of their editors is making an editorial choice that stories on Bitcoin, when it comes to poor, quote unquote, poor Black viewers, probably don't need to know about Bitcoin. So, in the face of this racial wealth gap, a technology divide, now information is being chosen who gets information on Bitcoin and blockchain, which I feel is very concerning. So, what are your thoughts on something like that?
I just think it's very heartbreaking, first off, that people are still in this lost in this matrix of racism. People need to realize that there's only one race, and it's the human race. And if there was something to come from space, we would all have to come together to fight it, right? That'd be the only way for us to come together. Unfortunately, it seems like, because this racism, it's been going on since the Egyptians. I think also that but with Black folks not knowing this, it's going to bring down our community and our financial literacy and our financial knowledge. Black people and Latinos and just Black and brown people should be the folks who should know the most about Bitcoin and blockchain, because this is a resource that they have the opportunity to take a few $100, $1,000, and jump in on a coin at an early time and make a bunch of money from it and change their life and their families' lives. So for that woman to say that just shows that it's not just her. It's the people above her and above them who are telling them to not broadcast that information during those times, because they know that their ratings and their data, their psychographics and statistics show that it's Black African Americans watching at this time at a high rate. So they're not going to show that important information for them to learn and grow. They're just going to show the regular news, gun violence, politicians talking boring stuff, right? That you see normally on the news, just horrible and violence. I don't like watching the news because it's really nothing of importance unless it's something really serious. So that's what I think about it. I feel like folks need to get on the internet. That's one thing that maybe these elites have messed up about, is the internet. By giving the people the internet, you have a lot of access to YouTube, to all types of information, the dark web. You can look for whatever you want on the internet, and you can learn whatever you want on the internet. So I think it's like they need to start educating themselves, whether we have TV or not. Because I didn't find out about blockchain through TV. Just I found out about it through YouTube and getting into cryptocurrency and understanding that cryptocurrency was built on a system called blockchain. So I just hate to see stuff like that. It's just really sad. I hope the world changes within the next 10 to 15 years. Now that we're entering in this new zodiac age called the age of Aquarius. We're leaving the Pisces age, and when you look at these old Euclid cycles, we're leaving the dark age and we're going into the golden age, supposedly right now. So hopefully, things change and people see that there's just one race, and color doesn't mean anything. We all have the same heart. You take everyone's heart off of the race, put it on the table. You show me what color that is and what person they went to. It's the same heart. It's the same brain. It doesn't really make any sense that people are still lost in that matrix of racism. And it comes from a higher form of the elites to bring apart just the regular average people. Because back in the day, before there was real Christianity and religion, people stood up against the elites and had things change, and things were changed for them. So they started creating these religions and these certain things to control the people. So it's just another form of control.
Well, yeah, when it comes to that sort of decision making, it is very concerning to say, hey, we don't feel like a Black audience deserves stories on Bitcoin. I mean, I understand to a certain extent, well, really, I think it comes back to this, right? That Fox News affiliate is a corporation or a part of a corporation, part of a business. They're trying to make their shareholders happy, and that may mean that in order to make their shareholders happy and maximize profits, this isn't how they're going to do it. So,
Right.
you know, I can
If they're even
understand
making
that.
profits from the 5 o'clock news, you know. So
Right, right. And well, you know, I kind of brought this story and I wanted to juxtapose it with another story that I thought is a little bit more positive, actually. There is a gentleman out of South Africa by way of Mawali. His name is Gray Jabizi. And he started a South African cryptocurrency school or university, excuse me.
excited.
Yeah, it's really cool. In 3 days, he got 50,000 enrollees. So, you know, that is that's saying something, right? You know,
they take their education serious over there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's you know, we could have had just the negative story about, hey, we're trying to not inform people, and here's someone on the continent who is making it very not just appealing but compelling to teach this information to people. And you know, to me, I find that very inspiring. You know, I think you know my background in trying to inform our community and other marginalized communities. So to see that was very heartening. And you know, you just got to salute people like that who are trying to do great things in this space.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Super dope. It's good to see people doing that around the world. Really cool.
100%, 100%. Let me. Well, I think another story that's kind of like the never-ending story, right? Is China is imposing its crackdown. It's cracking down again on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, right? Doesn't this just feel like the never-ending story?
Yeah, they're stopping folks from mining so much, being able to mine whatever they want because they don't want people. You can mine certain coins, you can become a billionaire yourself, right? So they're stopping certain companies from doing that, and they don't want them to, you know, they don't want to have basically high tech billion-dollar companies like Palo Alto has out here that can just run and do whatever they want without listening to the government, as we see Facebook did. They don't want that, and they don't want those type of companies also controlling their people. If you look at just the Asian community, from Korea to China, it's always a kind of a control society, and you can't really speak and have an open voice without, you know, dealing with some trouble. You know, if you look at China's billionaire, what happened to him? He used to be doing all the talking and advocating, and then he's just going all quiet now. I can't think of his name. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm just guessing. I'm not sure. Are you talking about Jack Ma, the CEO of Alibaba?
Is he the guy that has like the short hair and short? You say he's a short Asian guy.
Well,
Let me see. Hold on. Jack Ma. That might be.
That's one of the most prominent Chinese billionaires I know.
Yeah,
that
that's
comes
him.
to mind.
That's him. That's the dude they shut down. Remember he was on all those talks, and then there was an article that came out how China shut him down from talking against them because he was talking against them about the vaccine or something. I can't really remember the story, but I know that he spoke up against China, his own government, and they shut him down. And he was a billionaire, so he's quiet now. I don't know where he's at, but
Hey, you know, I have a very interesting story to tell about someone I know who came out of China. I got to save it for another day. It's an amazing story. I don't know. Maybe I'll write like a screenplay or something.
Sounds like
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not very much a current event story, but like I said, I don't know. You can make either like a movie out of this, but it's a cool story.
Why
I think
not?
it's worth sharing at some point. Regardless, to keep things moving, right? China is imposing its crackdown. In India, you know, they are also doing the same thing to a certain extent. And obviously, the Indian government and the Chinese government are very different. but they have always, both countries have always wanted to have harsh crackdowns, bans on crypto, and then those bans reverse or unravel somehow. But it's looking like India wants to tax cryptocurrencies, possibly tax them up to 18%. So I just saw that story today. And what's your thoughts on that?
Just more people getting greedy about money and control. That's really all that is. Just another government and another form of control to control of something that they want to be a part of.
Yeah. Gosh, and I think there's kind of two schools, or well, there's multiple schools of thought, obviously, in various crypto communities. Obviously, Bitcoin, created by Satoshi Nakamoto, it was meant to be a peer-to-peer system, right? And a peer-to-peer electronic cash system that removes trust from the equation. So it doesn't even need to be trusted partners in a transaction, right? And
Right.
We're seeing so many changes, and in a way, a lot of these changes are good. A lot of these changes are not so good. But the role of government, obviously, is something that scares a lot of people. A lot of the purists, a lot of early entrants into crypto, and I get the perspective, but it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like it would be great for lawmakers to really have trusted sources for their information, and make sensible regulation around blockchain and cryptocurrencies, because it does have the opportunity. But you're right. There is that threat of governments losing control, and so people obviously through that legislation also losing control, right? So there's always going to be that push and pull, right? That I see, and I'm always looking for a happy medium, a nice balance of both. But maybe that's an overly optimistic view, and there's no telling what's going to happen in the next couple of years here when, but obviously the United States needs to catch up in large part. There's a lot of great stuff happening on the state level. Obviously Wyoming. Nebraska's got some good stuff going on too. Nevada's doing they're moving in a good direction, it appears. Texas obviously is crafting and forming regulation and legislation. Good stuff going on here in California as well. So, it's not all bad and not all doom and gloom when it comes to that either.
For sure. You just never know that if folks are taxing or if a government's taxing crypto, we never know where the funds are going. We never know where the funds are being allocated and what it's being used for. So that's my point. Not saying that to just be negative. I definitely agree with you. Yes, it could be using the money for, great positive things. But from what we've known just from the history of governments and them taxing, that tax money is always used for dark projects or black projects, for the government, whether it's building better software, better military, better flying craft, better bioweapons, etc. And who says the government hasn't already had a blockchain system, a private blockchain system, where that's how they pay for all the black projects, through crypto? Who says they don't have their own black market crypto, in the government section? So we never know what's going on, what funds are being allocated for, and why they want to tax so much on something that doesn't need to be taxed like that. That's outrageous for them to tax 18%. When a lot of these companies, or a lot of these countries already are trillion-dollar countries from their resources they have, oil and from stocks and just et cetera. We can go on and on about the resources and what these countries have, but I just think it's kind of unfair when certain countries, with something new that's positive and really cool and can take the technology world to a whole new level in a positive way, and them just trying to shut it down from the beginning. So ever since Bitcoin and blockchain has come to the market, it's been negative, and people like SEC to the governments don't like it. Now, as you see, finally we see the banks and governments now accepting it now and taxing on it now, but it's just always been a pushback from government officials on blockchain and cryptocurrency, unfortunately,
Very much so. You said some things that kind of lead me to another story that was big this week, obviously, there's stable coins, right? So stable coin news. Once again, USDT Tether is under scrutiny. I believe it was either last year or the beginning of this year, the New York Attorney General's investigation and charges were settled with Tether and the companies associated, I believe Bitfinex. I don't know if you remember that case, but once again, Tether is in the news, and did you hear this round of stories around Tether this week?
Nope. What did they do now?
Well, I think now, regulators are starting to really understand Tether's role in the crypto markets or crypto economy, and they've seen how it operates, and now I guess they're not buying the whole where there's one Tether, there's $1 story. So, I don't know. Obviously, when people put two and two together on that, it can have some pretty interesting repercussions. So, how do you feel that Tether is once again being mentioned in the news?
I just hope that people, just use blockchain for the right things, man. Use blockchain for the right things and don't do money laundering, and just do the right thing. That's really just the way. Just be a good human. You're already making so much money if you own the company or the coin, or if you sold it regardless. Or it says he sold. I'm looking at it right now, but you own a bunch of coins. You need to be more greedy and do illegal stuff. I just don't see the point of that. I just feel like folks get too greedy once they make a bunch of money and they can't handle it. So like, oh, getting more, and they go crazy. So hopefully, it works out. I'm not investing into Tether, but hopefully it works out.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much with the Tether story, and once again, people have to do their own research, and we can't talk about the entire story in an hour. Not enough time, several hours to tell the Tether story. But it's important to know that Tether was one of the first stable coins out there. And it now operates on several blockchains. So that's something that people should keep in mind. The other stablecoin story that I saw was USDC, which is, that is another stablecoin project, which is, I would say it has, or at least as far as I know, according to the knowledge that I have, there are more controls over USDC. It's audited in a much tighter fashion, or a more thorough fashion than Tether. They have expanded to over 10.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say they've rolled out on over 10 different blockchains. So USDC is expanding its reach into crypto markets. So
I'm reading that. I'm looking at that on my computer. It says USDC on Tron blockchain surpasses 100 million 2 days after public unveiling. It says it's become a dominant stablecoin on Ethereum, and Circle now supports USDC stablecoin on Tron. Woof.
So, I mean, obviously Tether for so long was, well, it remains the dominant stablecoin, but it looks like USDC is trying to make similar moves. Now, obviously USDC is not USDT. But what are your just general observations of USDC in this move that they're making?
I think it's a good move if it's going to show us that these coins can be stable, because lots of folks still have trust issues and don't know about or want to educate themselves on the cryptocurrencies because they don't trust it, and when people don't trust it, they're not going to educate themselves. I was having a conversation with my family members the other day. They're saying they just don't understand it. Like, why should I get it? I see people are making money from it, but how are they making money from it? So I thought folks just have to educate themselves, and this becoming a stable coin, it should give more proof for folks who are uneducated that you can trust and invest into some cryptocurrency without thinking it's a scam or it's going to take your money, because that has happened in the past where people have invested a bunch of money into a coin, it reaches $1 billion market, and then the CEO is gone. He just vanished. So that has happened, but hopefully, these CEOs do good by the people and do good by the blockchain and crypto market and economy, and hopefully this market keeps rising, because we need crypto to be better and better and better, and eventually just get rid of fiat. We don't need fiat, so we don't.
So yeah, it sounds like you're all in. You're 100% crypto.
Yeah, I think it's the future of all currency. I believe so. I don't see the point in using the dollars and coins anymore, especially when they're not backed by gold. None of the dollars and things we use in America are backed by gold. I feel like if that was the case, only place I would say that would have that dominance would be Africa. But Africa has no central bank. And if Africa did have a central bank when they were planning on making a central bank, their money was going to be backed by all their natural resources. So this is going to be the only central bank in the whole entire world where its money is actually backed by a resource and its money is actually valuable. So that's why, they had Gaddafi killed and other folks like that to stop them from making a central bank. So, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. I think one of my shows I talked about stable coins and the different types of stable coins. That also is a show unto itself. But, I think you bring up a very good concept, especially, and obviously what we're seeing now is information related to blockchain is and education around blockchain is really hot on the continent right now. And but as it pertains to stablecoins, it allows African countries or corporations to use those natural resources, collateralize them to make stablecoins. So it's not impossible, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to think of this. Once again, a lot of ways people on the continent are thinking about things we're certainly not thinking about here when it comes to these use cases. So
yeah, you got that right.
Yeah. So, but, just to kind of end this roundup of news maybe on the right foot, or, going to go to the NBA. I don't know if you heard about this, but StormX is now the exclusive blockchain partner of the Portland Trail Blazers.
No, educate me on this. Educate me on that third type of blockchain, and educate me on what's happening.
On blockchain?
No, you said it was a certain blockchain they're using, right?
Well, Storm X. Now, I
Is that
don't
like
have a
Ethereum
whole.
blockchain, or is that like Ethereum and EOS blockchain?
I was going to say I don't have a lot of background on Storm X.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I haven't done my homework on this particular project, but they are the 4-year exclusive sponsor and their exclusive blockchain partner of the Portland Trailblazers. So I thought that was, kind of a cool thing.
What are they trying to use it for? Are they trying to give the NBA like its own like crypto coin to put on the market, or like what's going on?
That I'm sure there's a lot of things going on with this. Other teams like the Sacramento Kings and, of course, the Dallas Mavericks have been toying with how they use blockchain and cryptocurrencies, whether it's, NFTs or paying for tickets and season tickets using crypto. So I didn't get into the specifics of the partnership, but I would not be surprised if we see stuff like NFTs and digital asset offerings, like the whole bobblehead thing. I think last year the Dodgers came out with an NFT, a digital bobblehead, and it was on blockchain. So I wouldn't be surprised, once again, if that's what this partnership is, other than just a regular, corporate sponsorship. So the jerseys of the Portland Trailblazers will have a patch for Storm X. So that's the other thing that you're going to see is, their jerseys having this corporate logo on it. But I think, it sounds like it's a win-win proposition, obviously, for the Trailblazers organization. It's great for StormX in terms of getting exposure to, a mainstream audience. And hopefully the fans get something out of it as well, which, once again, there's so many ways to get fan engagement and use blockchain to do it. So I'm looking forward to see what they do.
Yeah, that should be really cool. Thanks for putting me on to that. I'm going to check them out and study that. And I'm still learning about NFTs. So next time or next video session we have to talk a little bit more about NFTs, because I'm still familiarizing myself with it and understanding the concept of NFTs. Even though I understand the basic concept, but I'm still learning it.
Yeah, no problem. NFTs are very early. The concept of, obviously, NFTs have been around for so long, but now, there's going to be so much great stuff that can come about with NFTs. And I mean, NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens. Like, I think if we just break down that title, right? Fungibility, right, is the ability of something to be traded, an object or a good to be traded. So, if you go to let's just say a marketplace, right? And that market is selling apples, right? And you go there with an orange, right? You have one orange, and it's an apple market, right? That orange is not going to sell, right? It can't trade with other apples. That's the whole fungibility example that I like to use. But really, in this context, for collectors, NFTs are collectibles where you can have a one of one if the artist so chooses, for one fan to own one copy of whatever that artist's digital work is. I can go on and on NFT use cases, but
I get it. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, and I definitely want to have a conversation with you down the line a little bit more on this as well. So, but definitely. That's today's show. Thanks again, Ranzel, for joining and kind of talking through some of the news with me, and let folks know how they can reach you and get some of your music.
You can reach me at YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and any of the streaming site that you use. As Ranzel Ranzel. And then on YouTube, Ranzel Merritt, Ranzel. Then Merritt, Merritt. And then social media, just Ranzel Merritt. You'll find me. And I just want to thank Kamal. Thank you guys for having me again. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks so much, Ranzel. Everybody at home, have a great, safe holiday weekend out there. And remember to keep your eye on Black USA News.
That's right. Peace.